Hey, let's continue dating some cats. Yeah? Hey. Still in chapter 1, not very far into the game. Seen apparently 0.7% of the game. I like that they've got all these stats for you up front. Rad. Let us continue. I mean, like, I want to romance more cats, but I also feel like probably should dedicate some effort into the other items. Um Especially since, like, this is my job. Yes. Uh so let's do some research. I do want to smooch all the furry buddies. Do. And the hairless one too. All of them. I actually the cat that I most wanted to romance was not an option from the beginning. I had to choose between McMurphy and Snooty Booty, which is the hairless cat. And I went with McMurphy because he seemed like a chill dude. And sure enough, he had some booze that he gave me. I'm gonna research 12. I don't know what this means. It's like a mini game. Oh, gonna do it. Today, I'm in the lab doing flora research. It's not the most exciting job, but if I keep my head down, I can get through it quickly enough. It really just consists of unpacking the new samples of plants and flowers that the professor and I have collected on our foraging expeditions, and logging them into the database of organic substances on the computer. Oh, but yes to naked alien cats. They're so cute. And weird. I love them. Most of them are commonplace plants that grow abundantly in the forest, but occasionally we come across something more rare. Exotic, even. One of the samples I'm looking at today is Calendula incana maritima, which is very interesting indeed. I can't help speculating that it's been cultivated in the marigold's little greenhouse and then transplanted to open ground. Is it? I'm distracted momentarily by the sound of clinking glass, and I turn to see the beautifully manicured paw of a sphinx cat tapping on a beaker, nudging it perilously close to the edge of the counter. No. No, Snooty Booty. Boots, stop that. You're not supposed to be in here. She laughs as though I've told a joke. That's a frightfully pretty flower. Calendula incana maritima, if I'm not mistaken. You never cease to amaze me, Boots. How on earth did you know that? Why, I make it my business to know all about rare and valuable works of art. Art? Why not? It has been created like a sculpture or a painting. The marigolds are true artists in the garden. Ah, I wondered if they had something to do with this. It's so unusual, even in its natural swampy habitat. But to have it growing here in the forest is very out of the ordinary. Yes, its properties are extraordinary too, human. Well, I'm quite new to botanical science, so I probably don't know the half of it. Why don't you fill me in? Although I'm always happy to facilitate your learning, human, I simply can't stay here a moment longer. The air is so stale, don't you find? I ignore her sideways glance and upturned nose. Let's go to the beach and drink some coconut water, and I'll tell you everything you need to know. Snoots, I'm not going anywhere until I finish this. Don't be ridiculous. You can tinker about in here anytime, but the sun will be gone in an hour or two. I'm not tinkering. This is my job. If I don't get it done, the professor will want to know why. Then explain to him you had better things to do. Snooty Booty, I won't tell you again. he catches you here, Hopper will cage you. Be careful with that flower, human. It doesn't do to inhale that fragrance too deep. What? I turn to ask why and see her flounce out, knocking the beaker with a swish of her tail as she does. Jerk? You did that on purpose. But she's gone, leaving me to clear up the broken glass. Okay, so got another day. Let's do another romance. Do another cat date. Oh, Snooty Booty's mad at me. Oh. She's got a broken heart. Oh no. You can only date McMurphy. Again. Not keen on that. I want to date Trixie. Floofy butt. Alright, we'll go with McMurphy. I'm sweltering in the mess tent. Typical for me to get cook duty on the hottest day so far. I step out for a moment to try and catch some air. Psst. I'm not sure if I really heard something or if the dehydration is getting to me. I take a swig from my water bottle. Hey, aren't you gonna share, Kara? Oh, McMurphy. Was that you psting? That's awkward. What are you suggesting, Kara? I only use the designated litter areas. I see. Murph, you are incorrigible. You know exactly what I meant. Come on, Kara. Never mind all that. We have work to do. He's supposed to be an Irish cat, but I can't do an accent. So... I am working. I'm supposed to be cooking for this evening. I mean, work of the adventuring variety. Oh, of course you do. Come on. Don't be such a bore. I'm sorry, McMurphy, but I can't. I'm very busy here. It's going to take hours to defrost and braise this meat from the main. Well, if you come with me, you may end up providing a much tastier dish in half the time. What do you say, Kara? You up for the... what? Break? Jesus. What are you saying? You mean I should just bunk off? That's the spirit. Strip off your apron and let's hit the trail. But I can't just... What if someone comes looking for me? Leave him a note. Gone fishing. Maybe it's the heat, but I'm overcome with a moment of madness. Well, okay then, you wild Irish rover. I'm all yours. Ah, now there's a thought. Before I can answer, he's slunk into the thickening of the forest behind the clay cooking pits. I whip off my apron and follow behind. Wait, Murph, it's too hot to run. Then we really ought to cool ourselves off, eh? He's led me up to the cliffs, and without warning, takes a running jump off the edge. I see him flying through the air and watch mesmerized as he cuts through the water. Oh no, Murphy, are you okay? Don't panic, I'm coming. I kick off my flip-flops and shorts and follow him into the water. I'm surprised at how shallow it is, and that I'm easily able to stand. Wait, didn't you dive off the cliff? Why is it... Murph, where are you? Frantically search about, fearing for his safety, and suddenly feel something brush against my legs, making me scream out loud. What's that? I look down into the clear water and see McMurphy speeding across the seabed like a shark, fast and sleek, and suddenly breaking up through the surface with something in his mouth. McMurphy, you can swim? What on earth is that thing? Oh my, it's a fish. So why can cats talk? Because I am in the process of turning into a werecat. It doesn't really make any more sense other than that. I was, like, kidnapped, and it's unclear if they did this, or if there are elder cats in the danger zone area of the island. So it's unclear if the nice cats did this, or if the danger zone cats did this. But I had, like, scratches on my hand and a bite, and they said that I would slowly turn into basically a werecat. But that's how they were able to make it so that I think they had me kidnapped and did it. Um, but yeah, so that was the way that they could make sure I understood them talking. And they need help because cats are going missing or something. And they think it's somebody from the human side of the island. I can see he's smiling even with the sprat in the way. You can fish? He spits the fish back into the water. There truly is no end to my talents, Kara. You can say that again, but I have so many questions I don't even know where to start. Catch your breath, Kara. I know I'm exhilarating company, but you need to exercise a little bit of restraint, or you'll be swooning on me next. Relax! The salt water is very buoyant. I copy McMurphy, and we both lie with our backs on the surface. It's very calming and tranquil, and I'm finally able to collect my thoughts. I realize I've not had this much clarity in a long time. This is so cool. I know. Trixie took me here first. Calls it the Ponder Pool. Oh, can you all swim then? I thought cats... Before I can even finish my sentence, McMurphy cuts in. It's a common misconception that cats can't swim. As you can see, it's another thing we excel at. So humble, too. As Nana McMurphy used to say, if you've got a trumpet, blow it. What about the fish? Where did they come from? There are no birds or fish on the island. It's one of the first things they tell you in orientation. That's just because they don't know. Don't know what? Oh, it's better if I just show you. Come on, Kara, follow me. Oh yeah, that's another thing about this island. I don't think I was at this point when you watched earlier. There's a force field around the island, and everywhere except the jetty where the boat came in, basically nothing can enter the island. Except through that one point, because of this ridiculous force field that is definitely there. We swim for a while with McMurphy leading the way with purpose, and then he stops. Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't sure if you had heard that. Well, notice anything interesting? Well, the water is much cooler and deeper here. Anything else? Can you feel anything? Stand perfectly still for a moment and begin to feel a strange sensation around my legs. Like a warm trickling under the water. Oh, did Murphy pee in here? McMurphy, are you peeing? Yes. Don't be so crude, Kara. It's a current. Look over there. I refocus my eyes until they see that what I thought was a rock shadow is moving. It comes closer into focus, and I realize it's a shoal of small fish darting in and out of one particular spot. What is that? I don't understand what I'm looking at. Isn't it enough just to see, Kara? To experience? Do you always have to understand everything? Well, yes, it's my job. It's who I am, McMurphy. I'm a scientist. It's in my DNA to seek to understand. Come on then, scientist. Let's take a closer look. We move closer to the area where the fish are gathered. I put my hand down and realize I can touch them and even pick them up, but something is stopping them from swimming further inland. McMurphy, we need to get going. I'm going to be in big trouble if I'm away for any longer, but thank you for showing me this. I'm definitely going to come back here to try to understand it. I wouldn't waste your time, Kara. It wouldn't be a waste. I'm committed to finding all... He cuts across me as I'm speaking. I meant coming back to this particular spot. The fishes won't be here. Oh, I see. It's only at certain times? And different locations. It changes all the time. There's no pattern to it either, so you'd just be sticking pins in maps, Kara. I brought you here because I saw them this morning. Chances are they'll be gone by this afternoon. The disappointment must be apparent on my face, because McMurphy switches lanes super fast to distract me. Okay, Kara, it's time to strip off. Huh? That t-shirt would make it a lovely net. Let's go fishing. Oh, I see. Well, of course I'm going fishing. I whip off my top and use it as a net to scoop up as many fish as possible. It's quite effective. Great idea, Murph. Now you can rustle up a tasty fish supper in no time at all, and you get to enjoy my company for an extra hour. Win-win, Kara. Okay, so now I have a little challenge for you. That, Kara, is music to my ears. There's little I like more than a gauntlet thrown. You oohing at me stripping off my top? Well, it's hardly a gauntlet, more a brain teaser. How am I going to explain the rest of my team this bountiful ocean offering? Why tell them anything at all? Because they're gonna notice that we're eating something that wasn't on the delivery list or the menu rota and tastes way too fresh for something recently defrosted? You worry far too much about things that don't really matter, Kara. I know he's right. I could do with loosening up a little, but this is a pretty big dilemma, really. Maybe I ought to tell Professor Popper about this. What's the harm? Mac has stopped splashing around and looks me squarely in the eyes. There would be harm, Kara. Trust me on that. Obviously, I don't mean I'd tell him about you or anything that would endanger any of us, just that I noticed this shoal of fishes, and I took some. End of. You really think you could mention a phenomenon like this, and that would be the end of it? That he wouldn't start putting all manner of investigations and disruptions in place? You are touchingly naive, my friend. I feel myself blush. I am being a bit naive, but I don't like the thought of lying. So what do you suggest then, if you know so much about everything? Give me a plausible story, and I'll follow through. McMurphy lets out a wild howl and splashes water at me. Now that's what I like to hear, you impetuous daredevil, you. I splash him back, and a furious water fight ensues. We are making such a ruckus, I'm amazed no one comes to check what's going on. After a good 10 minutes of laughter and play, we run out of steam and float in the buoyant, warm water. Hey, Brian, how's the sound volume on this? Like for the music. Let's hear it then, Oz. Oz? What's my cover story? It's a very simple case of brazen bluffing. Okay? Make a simple but delicious meal, and if anyone should ask where the fish came from, shrug your shoulders and ask the same question. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. I'll adjust it later. It's all in the poker face. You remain completely impassive and ask the same question. Yeah, I wondered that too. Where did the fish come from? They're delicious. Really? Trust me, Kara, as a cat who's forever risking one of his 9, the simpler you keep it, the more they buy it. If they ask you where you got them from, you tell them the fridge. Simple. I feel quite giddy at the prospect of getting away with a ruse. Okay, Murph, let's gather the supper. We have an abundance in no time, and I haul my catch back to the kitchen in good time to make a tasty meal for everyone, and a little extra for my feline pals. Cool, this is saving so I can go back. It's because I'm going to adjust the sound. That's not too loud, is it? Is it too quiet? Oh my goodness. All right. So how's that? That's actually full volume, so. I mean, I can turn it up louder in OBS too, but... Okay. I mean, I don't want it to be too loud. Continue. So now we've done 2 dates and a research. I'm going to do a recon, I think. And then I'll probably have to rest. Oh, maybe I should rest anyway. Choose again. I will rest and refill my hearts. Had a lovely nap and wake up feeling revitalized. Your energy has been restored. Magic. And now I'm going to do a recon. I do 4. Yeah, the security guard I met when I arrived might be a good lead. Time for a bit of interrogation work. I've been staring at the back of his head for a long time now. Too long. I'm starting to feel creepy. I just don't understand it. All he does is sit in that chair by the dock, eating egg sandwiches and doing crossword puzzles. How does a man like that become the security guard for a place like this? As far as I can tell, his job consists of greeting the boat to make sure nothing unauthorized gets on or off it, picking up supply deliveries, and occasionally taking a long, lazy lap of the island to make sure everything's secure? I wonder what he knows about the research that goes on here, if anything. He doesn't seem to be interested regardless. I decided it's time to get to know this island bouncer and go to join him at the dock. I sit next to Zane, me on the sand, him in that chair. He's not wearing his big coat, and the short-sleeved shirt allows me to notice for the first time how surprisingly muscular he is. I never truly thought of him as security in the bodyguard sense, but now, squinting at him sideways, trying not to stare too obviously, I begin to see him in a new light. Ew, this is not a human dating sim. I don't want you to be interested in him. I pluck up the courage to talk. Hey Zane, how are you? Are you trying to start a conversation? He says this without looking up from his crossword puzzle. Oh, I suppose I am. Yes, I don't get to chat to humans much in my job. Research Assistant 125. He rolls the words out like he's been reading them. Oh, yes, I guess that's me. So, what does the number stand for, anyhow? You don't know? He asked monotonously, eyes still glued to his crossword puzzle. No, actually, to be honest, Zane, I don't know much at all. There's a definite lack of intel sharing on this project. Which project would that be? This one? This whole research project that's going on. Is there more than one? Depends on who you ask. You? I was asking you, really? I don't understand your job. I don't need to. I don't care about things I don't need to. What do you care about? Zane looks at me for the first time. You really want to talk, don't you? Well, there's not much else to do here. Besides, I'm interested in it all, aren't you? My interest consists of what's for dinner and when my next puzzle book's coming. When it's coming, you get it delivered? Comes with the mail. He's back to not looking at me again. The mail? You mean the parcels? And the letters, yeah. The letters? Like a parrot. Who would go to the trouble of sending mail all the way out here when we have email? I laugh, but Zane looks very serious. It's safer sending mail the old-fashioned way. With email, there's viruses, hackers, worms, cyber terrorists. I get the feeling he's not very tech-savvy. Yeah, but anyone can open and read a letter, right? Not if I'm around. And besides, who would suspect that something important would be in a fragrant pink envelope? There's an awkward silence. Of course, being my usual socially inept self, I'm desperate to fill it. Need any help with that crossword? I'm pretty good. I can even do the cryptic puzzle in the Daily Inquirer. That line usually gets me a little kudos, but Zane simply ignores me. I decide to just come out and say what's on my mind. I mean, it can't make things more awkward than they already are. Zane, have you ever noticed anything strange going on here? Cats behaving weirdly? Zane suddenly looks up, his eyes locking straight on mine, unwavering, hard. No. Have you? Well, not exactly, but he is looking at me properly for the first time since we met. I have definitely captured his attention, but I am too nervous to follow through. I'm just being silly. The lack of human company can get to me. Gives me daft ideas. Such as? He's still staring at me, as though he's trying to read my mind. Sometimes, when I'm out tagging, I feel like they're playing games on me, like children, hide and seek, that kind of thing. Some of these cats may be cleverer than any of us give them credit for. Now it's my turn to be. In what way? They know when to stay out of the sun. You're going pink. The moment, if there was one, is over. I decide maybe Zane isn't the best person to talk to about my concerns. Feeling unwanted and slightly dejected, I decide to head back to camp. I stand up and brush the sand off of me. It's a 5-letter word for solitude. Alone. Zane silently scribbles in his book as I leave. I believe it's time for more cat dating. Oh, I can still only date McMurphy. Ugh. Ruin my chances with Snooty Booty. It's too beautiful a day to be slaving in a hot lab, so when Murph invited me for a stroll, it was easy to say yes. Not that I'd need much incentive to spend time with him. He's very engaging company. We've come to one of my favorite spots, where the cliff sweeps upward above the blue water. Suddenly, and without any warning, McMurphy plunges over the top of the towering rocks. I run to the cliff's edge, my heart in my mouth, to see what's happened. And there is a sight I still haven't gotten used to. He's in the water, more otter than cat, waving me to follow. Jump, Kara, jump! Sure, the water's grand. McMurphy! I'm shocked by the shrillness of my voice. I hadn't intended it to be quite such a shriek. I was aiming for stern admonishment. That's so dangerous. You could do yourself serious injury, or worse, from such a height. Oh, psh! Come on, Kara, or you won't get to see that little surprise I have in store. You've already surprised me enough for one day. Ha! Which one of us is meant to be the pussy? Oh, I don't like that. At this, I am filled with an indignance that takes over my body, and before I know it, I am halfway between ledge and water, bracing for impact. This way. I'm still catching my breath as McMurphy's head disappears under the water. My mind is saying, no, this is ridiculous. Get back to land this instant. But my body is following the Irish cat. My eyes take a moment to adjust. but when they do, I can hardly believe what I'm looking at. It's a ship. As we approach from the stern, it looks pretty much intact. I can see the name on the rear port side, and though faded and worn away in parts, the words are unmistakable. Kitty's Desire. My head is swimming due to the excitement and lack of oxygen. I flounder to the surface to catch my breath. Kitty's Desire? I feel like I know that name. McMurphy eventually bobs up to join me on the surface. Surprised? Shipwreck? Here? This is a very old island, Kara. A lot has happened here. But how did a ship even get here before the path was made? Hey, don't ask me, Kara. I'm just in it for the grog. McMurphy smiles and dives back into the murky depths. I follow, a flailing flesh bag in comparison to Murphy's sleek figure. I try to get a closer look at the wreckage. It's a big ship, likely a trading vessel from the size. Hard to tell how old it is, but it certainly isn't modern, maybe 18th to 19th century. When we enter the ship from a huge hole in the stern, I realize that a lot of the vessel is actually on land. It's obvious that it ran ashore after it was damaged at sea. There's not much time to ponder the mechanics of what happened, as McMurphy is tugging at my t-shirt with his right paw, while gesturing with his other paw outstretched, to a cabin he wants me to enter. I'm grateful for the air trapped inside and gasp for breath. Here, Kara, look. Hang on, let me catch my... But he has already ducked into the next cell. How is he not out of breath? I realize his ability to swim underwater is unusually strong, but he barely breaks the surface at all. In here, through the hole. He sounds really excited, and as I enter, I see why. There, in the center of the cabin, is a chest. It's wedged between the wall and a surprisingly well-preserved writing desk, the only thing preventing it from falling and being buried in the sand. A treasure chest? I sound like a giddy child and feel embarrassed, but McMurphy joins in my glee, and suddenly we're cheering and laughing together. Go on then, open it, Kara. Okay. What are you waiting for? The key? Does it need one? Well, of course it does, Murph. It's a locked treasure chest. Can you not just break the lock? You think I am, Houdini? I don't know about that, but I do know you're a very clever scientist whose thirst for knowledge matches my thirst for grog. So you get yours, and I'll go get mine. The Moggy grins before darting into the next cabin, and I hear the familiar clinking of bottles shortly after. I decide to try the lock anyway while McMurphy is getting his. I look around for something, anything, I could lever it with, and am disappointed. Everything except the chest and desk must have been washed away a long time ago. We'll have to come back with some tools to tackle that lock, Murph. There comes no response. McMurphy is obviously still busy with his looting and pillaging, so I decide to swim to the beach to get a better look at this wreck from land. When I can take in the scene properly, I can make out what looks like another large ship just a bit further down the beach. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing. One huge sea vessel finding its way to this island is strange enough, but two meeting the same unhappy fate is more than my brain can process. The proximity of the pair would suggest a collision of some kind. Possibly the second vessel could have been a pirate ship. Maybe it was attacking the merchant vessel? I get the feeling I'm looking at the conclusion of a very interesting story here. I wonder why Professor Popper didn't tell me about it. Obviously, he must be aware of the two vessels. My nose for intrigue has started to twitch, and I am burning to know. I decide to take in some of the debris, splinters and small chunks of metal, and pocket it for later analysis in the lab. When I'm satisfied that I've thoroughly combed the beach for specimens and have salvaged anything of interest, I realize that I haven't seen McMurphy for quite a while. My heart stops, and the hairs on my neck stand on end. How could I have been so wrapped up in my work that I neglected to keep an eye on my friend? McMurphy? I'm met with silence and still water. I run back towards Kitty's Desire, my heart thumping in my chest. McMurphy! I jump in the sea and swim back to the stern of the ship. There doesn't seem to be any life around here. I break through the surface with a choke and try to call out again, but my throat is hoarse and full of salt water. Where? I catch sight of a shadow out of the corner of my eye, crawling along the seabed. I dive underwater to get a better look and see instantly that it's the Irish cat, stalking and prowling as if he were on land. I quickly grab him by the scruff of the neck and drag him back to shore. McMurphy, you loon! What on earth are you playing at? I catch my breath and check on him, but he's happily rolling on his back in the sand. Me? I was having a grand time until you manhandled me with those big meaty paws of yours. I am going to tell him to get serious. What? Having a what? Calm down, Kara. You look like you're going to pop. You've been under the water for ages. I didn't see you come up for air once. I have been blessed with a fantastic breathing apparatus. But I didn't know that, did I? And you were worried about me? Ah, Kara. Now that is very touching indeed. I feel like a damsel in distress rescued by a charming... I don't allow him to finish his sentence. You may think you're clever and funny, but let me assure you that no one else here is laughing. Jumping off cliffs without warning and drinking while you're swimming, not very clever at all. I wasn't drinking while I was swimming. That would be impossible. I know. I tried. The more cross I am, it seems, the more amusing McMurphy finds it. You may not realize it, mister, but I have a duty of care towards you. All of you cats. So if something happens to me, you're afraid you'll get in trouble? Aw, and there was me thinking you care for me because you like me. He's deliberately turning this around, and it infuriates me further. Stop being so manipulative. You know how much I care for you. Of course I do. You can be very tricky too, you know. Shall we open this? He's reached over to a bottle of grog he's taken from the wreck. You look like you could use something to take the edge off. No, McMurphy, I do not want any of that. Thank you very much. So what is it you do want, Kara? He flashes me a raffish grin. I want you to stop being so reckless. You'll give me a heart attack. Well, much as your heart is of considerable concern to me, Kara, I'm afraid I can't promise to stop being what I am. It's like asking the wind to stop blowing. The wind does stop blowing sometimes. He lets out a long laugh. You really are a scientist, Kara. Nothing will ever change that, eh? I understand what he's saying. I need to allow him to do his own thing. Okay, come on then. Let's start heading back. Actually, Kara, you go on ahead. I'll catch up with you later. He winks, and I am in no doubt as to what he wants to do for the rest of the day. I think more research. Research 5. Cat collection. Time to round up some rowdy kitties. Now, if these... I feel like they missed an opportunity to make these mini games. Oh, okay. I don't know if that's enough clearance for him. Maybe I should just... Is there stuff on the bottom of the corner here? I mean, I guess the heart is there. That's fine. I think he's fine there. And yeah, he should have a word bubble. He will greet new people that talk in the chat. I don't know if he'll do it if I talk. Fine. And my bot just said something for the first time, so. Alright. But yeah, I feel like they made, they missed an opportunity to make these research items mini games. Like, that would have been a fun addition. It's a sunny afternoon. Most of the cats are lazing on the beach. Perfect. Shooting fish in a barrel. I double-check my supply list. Crate, treats, sedatives, snare, catnip, and a septic cream for myself. I've got everything. I have a sick feeling in my tummy, but I ignore it as best I can. This is going to be a challenge, but I'm pleased the professor is trusting me with the more physical tasks. I walk out to the beach, feeling like the child catcher. Who's the child catcher? I keep reminding myself that I'm doing this for the greater good, even if it makes me unpopular with the cats. I set up the crate in an unsuspecting location and keep the snare hidden behind my back. First, I stroll around, trying to look as casual as possible, whistling a tune as I walk. I get close to one of the smaller cats. I start to stroke her. I want this to be as painless as possible. The cat responds well to me. She even starts to purr gently. Are you going to come with me? The cat looks at me with big, wide, loving eyes. Come on, then. I pick the cat up, carry her to the crate, and place her gently inside. I lock it shut, even though the cat makes no attempt to escape. Well, that went better than expected. This may be a good day after all. Huh? That location won't suspect a thing. What? I don't know what you mean. Emboldened by my success, I approach one of the slightly larger cats. Hey, matey, shall we get in the basket? I give him a little stroke. He doesn't respond badly, although he doesn't seem particularly interested either. I put my hands on either side of his body, ready to pick him up. He doesn't look happy about it and growls a warning. Hey, mister, it's gonna be okay. We're just going on a little trip, alright? As soon as I start to lift, all hell breaks loose. Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yowling and hissing, he scratches my arms to ribbons. I try to get him into the basket, but he stretches out and I can't fit him in. Oh, ow! Oh no! I know when I'm defeated, and I have to let him go. He's scarpers? That's not a word. He scarpers off into the distance. I look down at my ravaged arms. Note to self, wear long sleeves when on caging duty. Is it? I feel like it's not a word I've ever heard. So I will rest today. You have a lovely nap and wake up feeling revitalized. Your energy has been restored. Magic. I'm not gonna click a link. Don't be a know-it-all. Yes or no would have been fine. Do some recon. It is a British game. Or at least it's, I can't remember if the devs are British or not, but like at least the aesthetic of the game is supposed to be like British comedy. You're fine. I hear my catalog beeping. I presume it's the professor. I tumble out of bed half asleep and fumble around looking for the device. I look at the screen, my eyes struggling to focus. The message isn't from the professor at all. There's no contact information. Unknown number. Come outside. Me. Who is this? come outside. They obviously aren't going to respond to my question. Should I do as the message tells me? Well, yeah. My curiosity is roused. I have a feeling there's something important to learn from this stranger, so I throw on my clothes and crawl out of my tent. I don't see anything out of the ordinary. Anyone out here? My catalog beeps again. Walk to the edge of the forest. I'm not going any further until you tell me who you are. Walk to the edge of the forest. No. Walk to the edge of the forest. Walk to the edge of the forest. Walk to the edge of the forest. Stop it. By now, I realize I have walked to the edge of the forest. At the edge of the forest, I see something on the ground. If I get closer, it becomes clear that it's a small posy of flowers. I gingerly pick them up. Yeah, totally legit and not suspicious at all. I gingerly pick them up and notice that several of the flower heads are missing. My catalog beeps again. Follow the petals. And that's when I see the trail of little orange petals, the same color as the bouquet I'm holding. Maybe it's McMurphy. Well, I've come this far. No turning back now. I begin to walk. I'm nervous, so I call out. Hello? No answer. Louder this time. Hello? Hello? Floofy Butt. Hello? Who is that? Who goes there? Major? Is that you, Floofy Butt? I really wish you wouldn't call me that, human. What on earth do you think you're playing at? Cavorting around the forest in the dead of night, causing a ruckus. Oh, Major, you don't know how pleased I am to see you. I need your help. And this can't wait until a civilized hour? Cats are nocturnal. I'm afraid it can't. I'm not the one who instigating this. I've been getting messages from an anonymous source asking me to follow them into the forest. Look, they've left this trail. Ah. Calendula maritima. Marigolds. Herb of the sun. They're said to represent creativity, though some believe them to be symbols of cruelty and grief. Your knowledge is always so impressive, but I have to say on this occasion, it's not very comforting. Floofy Butt goes striding off with purpose. Come along then, Iris. Are we going to follow this trail or not? I shuffle awkwardly behind him. Before the sun comes up, eh? We continue on for a short while, and notice that the petals are getting more sparse. It's becoming difficult to see them until eventually they seem to run out, and we find ourselves at a small clearing. Well, it appears somebody has been playing a joke on you, Iris. I sadly agree. It's been nothing but a wild goose chase. It seems so, Major. I'm sorry for dragging you into this. Let's get back to our beds before we waste any more precious snooze time on this fool. I turn to Floofy Butt and notice that his back is arched and his fur is puffed up, making him look even more floofy than usual. Something wrong, Major? You tell me, human. Does that pile of rocks look suspicious to you? Amongst myriad rock piles, I notice a small, contrived-looking cairn. Floofy Butt's right. It looks far from natural. That looks to me like it's asking to be inspected, Major. Well, get to it, Iris. You're the one with thumbs. Smartass? I begin to dismantle the small mound, rock by rock. It's not until the foundation stone is removed that we find a manila envelope. Major, look! It's a letter. Looks rather large for a letter, my dear. I think you ought to open it. Here? Or back at the base? Having got you this far, I think it's only fair that I have equal share of the spoils. Spoils? Yes, perhaps we should look now, Major. As I'm speaking, I've torn into the envelope. Well, out with it. Looks like drawings? What sort of drawings? I'm not sure, but they look quite old. Antique, even. But do they have value, human? Probably to someone. They appear to be sketches of people here on the island, but I don't recognize anyone. Why would someone lead me to these? How do you know you were meant to find them? Because we followed a trail and it led us here. Actually, the trail ended a while back. This could be a mere coincidence. I hardly see the intrigue in a few old scribbles. They show no artistic flair at all. Even so, I'm going to hang on to these, to see if they prove more relevant to whatever mystery is unfolding here on this island. Floofybutt rolls his eyes. Really ought to focus more on clues that matter, instead of running around in the middle of the night on wild goose chases. Let's head back before anybody discovers you're missing. I roll the drawings up and tuck them into my waistband. I will study them when I have more time. I think Floofybutt is probably right, but I don't want to miss a trick. Get some rest now, Iris. Finally, sensible suggestion. I head after Floofybutt, struggling to keep up. I really need some sleep. Let's see, I think it's time for another cat romance. Go with McMurphy, because that's my only real option now. As the sun is going down, I decide to retreat into my tent for the night. When I undo the flap, I see McMurphy curled up asleep on my pillow. McMurphy's in my room? McMurphy, you're gonna get fur all over everything. You work with cats, Iris. Oh, hi there, Kara. You're back late, you rapscallion. Why are you in my bed? Come now. We both knew I'd get in your bed eventually, didn't we? Wink. My hand reaches for the spray bottle, but McMurphy throws up his paws defensively. I'm an unarmed cat, Kara, and I actually came to give you something for good behavior. Don't make me send it back. Give me something? What? Sure, now you're listening. I found something that just might interest you. It's more of that grog, McMurphy. I can assure you I'm not interested in the slightest. I sit on the end of my bunk and push him off my pillow, but allow him to stay on the bed. As he reluctantly moves aside, I see a black corner poking out from under my blanket. What's that? Why don't you take a look? I eye him skeptically, nervous of what he's roping me into now. Tell me what it is first. Will you just pick it up, Kara? It won't bite. I carefully reach for it and realize it's a small leather book, beautifully aged, and yet seems to be in good condition. I open it as gently as I can, for fear that it might turn into ash in my hands. On the first page, smudged and faded, but not destroyed by time or water, are the words, Captain's Log. Can't stop myself from gasping out loud. Oh, Murph, how did you find this? There's a lot you can find at the bottom of a bottle. 12. Are you impressed? Impressed? Speechless. I could kiss your furry head. Do it. Smooch the kitty. Well, don't let me stand in the way of you and your passion. I hardly notice he's still speaking, as I begin trying to decipher the entries, and I'm instantly engrossed. 1789. The men are getting restless. I begin to fear for the continued safe running of this vessel, my vessel, of which they are in mind to take ownership if my captain's instincts serve me right. Are you listening? Oh, sorry, what? I said, maybe I should leave you to it then? Yes, no, wait, McMurphy. Tell me where you really got this from. Was it the treasure chest? No, Kara, would you believe it? That thing was full of nothing but sand and salt water. That bit of treasure, on the other hand, I found at the bottom of one of my crates of grog, hidden in between the bottles. But this belongs to a captain. Why would it be with the crew's provisions? Like the captain doesn't drink grog? Come on. I'll let you figure that one out, Brainiac. Think of it as a puzzle to keep you amused on all of your cold, lonely nights. McMurphy smirks and saunters out of my tent. Dion is singing in the other room. Yes! New unlocks. Recon 5. I do today? Well, I just got a new recon. Let's check it out. Or recon 15. I can't read. Leon! He's just going nuts. The book McMurphy gave me is sitting on my lap. I wonder what a pirate's diary is doing on this island. Maybe there will be some clues within. The log reads, I felt an almighty crash, and then silence and stillness everywhere. It took a few seconds to gather my thoughts and understand what had happened here. If it would ever really be possible to understand this godforsaken place and how we got so far off course to reach here. But in that moment, immediately after we hit the rocks, I knew two things. I was alive, and we were on land, and I felt grateful. It felt like a chance at survival, and I was determined to grasp it. I felt my legs, intact thank God, and began crawling over the slate and shingle that seemed to stretch upwards to eternity. What type of place was this? Darkness was falling fast, but I needed to make sure we would be safe in this unexplored terrain. Who knew what would happen during the long night, what creatures it may bring, even what strange anomalies looking at the sky. I felt anything was possible, and we ought to be prepared. We had to work fast. I assembled the men, raggle-taggle though we were, into some kind of orderly unit, in the hope that the familiarity of discipline would raise morale. We were all tired, cold, and hungry. Some of us needed medical attention. This was not going to be easy, but that's what I was trained for. I would rather die than let my men down. We need to make some shelter. My voice sounded thin and weak against the sound of the waves crashing. At first light, I looked around and began to take stock properly. It's gratifying to see that the temporary shelter we had cobbled together last night was still intact, and no disasters had befallen us to add to the difficulty we were already burdened with. Considering the conditions we erected this makeshift cover in, and how short a time, I felt heartened for the first time since we were out at sea, before the strange electrical storm began that ended with us being thrust here against the unforgiving rocks of this terrifying place. We could do so much more with daylight on our side and food in our bellies. So they were shipwrecked on the island? The thought of being the first inhabitants here is terrifying. How on earth did they survive? Maybe they didn't. I want to believe they were rescued, but that seems unlikely. I will read more this evening. As I put the book away, a small piece of paper falls into my lap. It must have been hidden amongst the pages of the log. It's a note. Maybe a letter? Sally, I know you worry for me, but do not. The men do not treat me bad. They give me food and do not beat me so much anymore. The captain is not so fearsome as what they say, and is giving me lessons on my writing. I am improving. I practice all night because I can't sleep. I work hard, sometimes till my hands crack and bleed, but I still use them every morning to pray for you. That you are safe and well, and that we will be together once again. I miss you so much. The seas have not been smooth. Sometimes I worry that we will capsize completely and be lost out here forever. But I would swim the widest ocean back to you, my sweet sister. Sister? Ew. I hope you are practicing your writing too. I would like to read your clever poems again. Your loving brother, Jim. That's incesty. That's some flower in the attic shit going on there. What a sweet letter. I wonder what became of Jim. Right? Do a rest. So can I just not do any more recon? I think I'm gonna finish these 2 bits here and then call it for the evening, and play something off stream. I've been going for about an hour. I think that's about how long I want to do this at a time. I'll do another research. Oh! I have to do all of my cat stuff before I finish my research. Okay. Cool, so I'll do a romance. With McMurphy. Look at that star, and now take yourself 1,000 miles beyond it and tell me what you see. I laugh as McMurphy passes me the bottle. I take a swig before replying. McMurphy, what are you talking about? Just do it, Kara. That big shiny one way up there. Go 1,000 miles beyond it. Just tell me where you get to. Now what are you gonna watch? I smile. I'm partying on Venus. Oh yeah? There are so many goddesses here, McMurphy. They're all naked. You should see this. The laughing stops, or maybe it was only in my head to begin with. I look down at the fluffy cat, who seems far from his usual self. You okay, kitty cat? There's a big pub up in that sky. McMurphy grins and closes his eyes. And there I am, my big human toes warming by the fireplace. And my long hair is the same dark golden color as the ale I have in my man hand. There's singing, lots of it, and people dancing all around. Those that can't find space to dance on the floor, dance on the tables, naturally. There's an old sky pirate in the corner, telling his stories to anyone who will listen. The time he said to Jupiter, or Mars. And you're there too, of course. You're sat right next to me. We have unlimited drinks because we're famous in these parts. We're practically royalty. Ale, stout, beer, whiskey too. They just keep coming. When it gets dark and the place is quiet, we sneak out back to the beer garden. There's a clear view of Earth from where we're sitting. We don't miss it. McMurphy spits. We talk about our adventures, about how we sailed off this damn island, and how the ship became airborne. We talk about how we fought the big-breasted, bloodthirsty alien winches of the Emerald Star, and how we had to charm our way out of the space slug's lair. And I reckon we'd have a lot of fun. Of course, you wouldn't be able to keep your paws off me. You're begging for a kiss, and I'd be saying, now Kara, I'm not a piece of meat, you know. And you'd be saying, oh McMurphy, please, just one of your world-famous kisses, the fancy French kind. And I'd be saying, please Kara, control yourself. I start snickering again. What are you laughing at? You? Are you trying to say you wouldn't be all over me if I was human? Of course I wouldn't. Ouch. Now don't be mean. You'd be the one begging me for a kiss. What on earth gives you that idea? Ah, top of the morning, Kara. I love you so much, to be sure. Give me a smacker. That is so offensive. I stop laughing. I went a little too far there, I'm sorry. McMurphy lets out a wry smile. Well, maybe I would try to steal a little kiss. Who could blame me? You wouldn't get one. McMurphy's smile disappears. You know something, Kara? Huh. I think I should just come out and say it. What? You're alright. There's a pause. Not an uncomfortable pause. Just a slightly confusing one. You're alright too. McMurphy is gazing at the stars. I don't know what I'm doing. It's a strange feeling. I'm used to being a step ahead of everybody. Well, 2 steps ahead of you. Hey, don't be rude, Murph. I laugh. McMurphy grins. This feeling. It isn't new to me, but I'm still not sure what it is. All I know is that you get me in a way no one has before, and I get you too, even if you don't care to admit. I guess it's time to let the cat out of the bag. Without thinking, I look around. I'm so used to bagging and unbagging cats for my work that I take him literally, but his expression stops me from reacting. I've become attached to you these last few weeks. You've captured my heart, and I don't want to be without you, Kara. Oh, does he have my heart? Or do I feel differently? Oh, I can't decide. Think he has my heart, Minto Bear? Does he? But I have so many other cats I could still date. Aww. Alright. Wow, I wasn't expecting that, McMurphy. I haven't had so much fun, felt so free, or been so happy as the time I've spent with you. I don't think I'd care to be without you either. You have my heart. To my surprise, McMurphy looks visibly relieved. Well, Kara, I look forward to many more adventures with you. I unlocked the achievement Relationship Goals McMurphy. I mean, like, so I guess I've only got, like, the one choice now, right? Like, I can't continue romancing anything. This is a very cute game, yes. But I don't have the antidote all made. I can rest again, but I don't think that's gonna do anything. Well, I'll do another research, and it's gonna tell me that it'll end my time on Cat Island, but I don't think I've got any other choice. I mean, yes, yeah. See, I've got all these things I haven't researched, and like cats I haven't romanced, and so yeah, this is a very cute game. I've got another cat-themed game that I've streamed that's a platformer called The Purring Quest that's also very cute. And it's on sale for like $1.50 during the Steam sale, that one. It's very adorable. And my real-life cat has brought me a toy and would like me to acknowledge that she is a fantastic hunter, and she is. I'm so glad that she is here to provide for my family. She's done a very good job. Professor Popper told me to be ready early and dressed for hiking, as we're doing field work this morning. I'm not sure that I have anything that would pass for hiking gear, to be honest. Some sturdy shoes would be good. Oh well, lab coat and trainers it is then, as usual. A message from the professor lights up my catalog. Set to go? I'm waiting outside my tent. Ah, Iris, are you ready for our field work today? Yes, of course, Professor. May I ask where we're going? Somewhere I think you'll find very interesting. The professor hands me a backpack. Here, take this bag. It's very full, but surprisingly light. Oh, I had my professor voice on still. Popper set off at a brisk pace, calling back to me over his shoulder. This way. I run to catch him up. That's interesting phrasing. After some serious walking, with me struggling to keep up, the professor stops abruptly and listens. Do you hear that? There's a distant sound of bubbling water. We're almost there. Secretly, I'm relieved, as I don't think I could go much further. Just a little climbing. Climbing? I hide my dismay. Where does he get his energy from? It's just at the top there. It's not as difficult to climb as it looks. We are in front of an almost vertical rock face. Just copy me. He clambers up expertly. I manage to find a spot that will support my foot and start the climb. I make little progress before slipping and falling flat on my bum. I try again. This time I take it slow. Again, I fall. What happened to the benefits of catification the others kept going on about? The professor notices I'm having trouble and holds a hand out for me. I manage to climb up, just enough to take hold of him, and he lifts me the rest of the way. His strength is impressive. Curious, even. Not a fan of climbing, eh? Can't say I've done much of it, Professor. Come along, then. I can get you there. He pretty much pulls me all the way to the top, and then leads me to the entrance of a small cave. The sound of running water is very loud now. I instantly see why. A natural spring has cut its way through the rock and created a beautiful cascade of sparkling, clear water. It looks delicious. I kneel down without thinking and begin to drink. It tastes amazing. As I come up for breath, I see the professor looking at me with suspicion. You should know better. It's never wise, under any circumstances, to ingest something that is unproven. But here, on this island, it would be prudent to exercise more caution than usual. I feel embarrassed at my lack of consideration. Yes, of course, sir. I wasn't thinking. I felt so thirsty and it looked so good. I do understand. Many have made the same error. Fortunately for you, this is tried and tested for safe consumption. It's good, don't you think? My body feels suddenly re-energized. I feel like I could climb any wall. It's incredible. I feel fantastic. What's in it? We don't know. That's why we're here. We need more samples. We've been studying this water for months now, and we still know very little about it. Check your bag. I open my bag. It's full to the brim with empty plastic bottles. We'll need to fill all of these with water. We're going to need as much as we can carry. I do as he says. By the time all bottles are full and back in my bag, it weighs a ton, but I feel like I can lift anything. The effect of the water is powerful. The professor has also packed his own rucksack with bottles. That should do us for now. Let's get these back. As we make our way back down the rock face and back to camp, I have no problem keeping up with the professor. I feel I could run all the way. However, as we get closer to home, I start to feel the effect to wear off. My bag becomes unbearably heavy. The final limp into camp is torture. I need to rest. Oh, no, bottles. Empty plastic waffles. Yeah. Thought I was better at enunciating things, but I guess I'm not. It's late for me. I've come to the forest to gather my thoughts. This morning, I noticed another change in my appearance. Up until now, it's been easy to cover up my transition. I just had to keep on top of removing the excess body hair. Even the stub of a tail that appeared a few days ago hasn't been a problem. Who'd see it? Oh, thank you. But this new development is definitely a turning point. How am I going to explain the fact that my pupils have turned into vertical slits? I can't risk anyone seeing me like this, so I'm going to hide out for a while and see what happens. It's a beautiful night, and McMurphy and I are laying on the sand by the old shipwrecks, relaxed in the way that only cats can be. When I remember back to all the anxiety and stress I used to live with, the endless hours fretting over the antidote research makes my fur stand up. I thought our lives depended on it. I have. It's been a long time and I don't think I've finished it, but I have played it. It was my love for McMurphy that finally got me to see sense. Why was I so desperate to make him the same as me? Hadn't I fallen for him the way he was? So I decided to turn it on its head and become like him. I lose track after 30. 30? Oh, because they're counting. We're laying out under the stars. I can't help smiling to myself when I remember how cold I used to think it was at night. Mac used to rib me for my whining. Now here I am, as snug as can be, counting the stars with the cat I love more than anything else in the world. You see, the trouble is, Kara, you're still thinking like a scientist. What do you mean? So when you count the stars, you begin at 1 and assume you're going to keep chanting numbers until you've quantified the whole entire galaxy. He laughs until his eyes twinkle with moisture. Oh yeah? Go on then, Murph the Wise. Enlighten me on a better way of counting. So, if you ask me how many stars there are, take an overall squint at the sky, judge how cloudy or clear it is, and decide if there's enough light to hunt. Not too much is the right amount for that, by the way. Or too little light for a snooze. Best when it's bright. Or just enough to steal a kiss from your sweetheart. And judging by this sky tonight, he nuzzles into my fur and I'm the happiest cat in the universe. So I wonder if oh, okay, so that was chapter 1. And I'm in a relationship with McMurphy. Take a screenshot of this. And I achieved the ending Love Drunk. I found 1 of 18 endings and 0 secrets. Cool. He is a scruffy looking little kitty. I liked Trixie the best, but she wasn't available for me to romance. Not in chapter 1 anyway. Okay, so I would pick another new scientist, and okay. Interesting. Interesting. I am going to go with... Go with this guy. And random names. Yeah, he looks like a Simon. Oh, hey, thanks for the follow, Minter Bear. Finally here, so this is the infamous Cat Island, the place I will call home for the next 2 months. When I initially received a letter saying I had been placed on a reserves list for the job, I thought that was probably a kind way of saying no thanks, and put it out of my mind. So imagine my surprise when sometime later I got a call saying there was an opening for me, should I still be interested. I have a sudden pang of nerves that it's all a dream, and I rummage through my bag until I find the proof that puts my mind at ease. Dear Simon, we are pleased to be able to offer you the position of research assistant to Professor Popper at our research facility on Cat Island. Words are hard. The position will be for an initial period of 8 weeks. Your contract will be sent separately. We look forward to working with you. Yours sincerely, Professor Popper. No mistake. That's my name. Right there in the top left corner. And there's his name at the bottom, the genius behind this whole operation. Professor Popper. The ferryman comes out from behind the steering wheel and shouts rather brusquely. Take all of your belongings. We won't be back for days, so don't leave nothing you'll need. Thanks, Skipper. He totally ignores me, so I pick up my bags and disembark. A beefy-looking man, who I presume is island security, is waiting for me on the jetty. Hello. ID card? Oh, of course. I reach into my back pocket and show the laminated card I was given on the mainland. Oh, he looks so happy. Okay, so if he's there to replace Iris, her start date, or her issue date on her ID was January 1st. So she was there for all of 2 days? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. He barely looks at it before striding off, grunting over his shoulder. This way. Follow him down a dirt track path and get my first proper view of the island. It's beautiful. After no more than a couple minutes trekking, we're in base camp, which is modest but functional. A bit like glamping, really. Here. He stopped at the largest of the tents, indicating that I should go inside. As I enter, the professor looks up from his paperwork. Come in, you must be Simon. Delighted to have you on board. Thank you, sir. It's an honor to meet you. You must be exhausted after your long journey. Let me offer you some refreshment. Water? Coffee? Something stronger? Perhaps a little whiskey? Well, it would be rude to let him drink whiskey on his own. Well, if you're having one, it would be rude to let you drink whiskey on your own. Jolly good. I can tell you and I are going to get along famously. He takes a swig from the bottle and passes it to me. I try not to show off my self-consciousness and surreptitiously wipe the neck with my sleeve before taking a modest sip. I don't expect you to begin work until tomorrow. They'll just give you your kit and some basic instructions and then leave you to relax for the rest of the evening. Thank you, sir. That sounds great. Okay, so first things first. This is your basic kit. He goes over to the pile of tools and equipment, explaining each of them in turn. It's all standard stuff until... And this is your catalog. He holds up something that looks like a mobile phone. Catalog? Yes, it was initially designed to record and store data on the cats, but we've come a long way since then. There's a chipping pin that comes with it to tag cats so that we can keep track of them. It is an extremely valuable piece of equipment, Simon, and cannot easily be replaced, so I need you to guard it with your life if needs be. I think he's joking at first, but he looks so intense that I decide to take him seriously. Yes, sir, of course I will. Good, you'll get to know all the functions as you go along, but for now, I suggest we take a stroll out and see if we can't find a few cats that you can try it out on. So I spend the next hour scanning cats under the watchful eye of the professor. As I unpack and settle into my tent, I notice something odd, a little dugout under my bed. I reach in and pull out an unexpected find. The personal journal of the previous research assistant. The one before me. They must have forgotten it. Or left it behind? It's an absolute goldmine of information. It's going to get me up to speed with how it all works around here in no time. However, it seems something else was happening on the island. Something that was troubling them. I get the feeling there's far more going on here than the professor would have me know. In spite of my increasing tiredness, I continue to read, and the journal gets weirder and weirder, to the point where I'm not sure whether I'm still reading, or if I've dozed off and I'm now dreaming of talking cats and kidnappings. Eventually, I lose the battle and drift into a deep sleep. I wake with a start, and it takes me a moment to get my brain into gear. I can hear a scratching sound and the rustling of paper coming from the tent flap. It's a cat with something in its mouth. Suddenly, I'm wide awake. No! It has the journal! Wait! But it has disappeared into the night. Before I know it, I'm out in the cold of night, chasing it, running with all my might. I must get that book back. It has everything I need to know in it. Barefoot, dressed only in a t-shirt and shorts, running at full speed into the forest in the dark of night. This is familiar. I know. I read this in the journal. Something similar happened to the previous assistant. Yet here I am, falling into the same trap. I must be crazy. I slow to a stop. I think I'm going to be sick. I realize, of course, I'm close to the danger zone. Everything goes black and I fall to the ground. I open my eyes. A calico cat, one that I scanned yesterday, is standing in front of me. She drops the journal from her mouth. I pass out. He's so cute, he eats little sushis. Hello, I say, can you hear me? You okay? Here we go again. Move back a bit, let them breathe. Has it been bitten? Sphinx cat is standing over me, staring as I open my eyes. Yes, definitely bitten. Look at its hand. I bring my hand up to my face, and through blurry vision I can make out several deep scratches and puncture marks. The cats watch me intently. Yeah, the calico? Yeah, she's really cute. Is this real? I read something in the journal about kidnapping. Yes, his name is Floofy Butt, and the Sphinx is, Snooty Booty. Which is also a fantastic cat name. Catnapping! Nyah! We're sorry. It was the only way. You stole the journal. Oh, but I gave it back to you. But why did you take it? To lure you out here, sucker. There's no need for rudeness, Kibbles. My head has begun to clear, and I realize that if I can talk to these cats, not only is it all true, but it's already too late. I have the sickness. We need to have a talk, human. No, we don't. I know what's going on here. I read all about it from your last victim. Now, Kara, that's not very nice. We prefer to think of you as our champion and friend. McMurphy, you silver-tongued Irish charmer. My reputation goes before me. Oh, I know who you all are from the journal, so let's cut to the chase here. We just did that, dummy. You know what I mean. What happens now? Keep reading the notes. That will tell you all we know so far. Hang on, who are you? You're not mentioned in the journal. You figure it out. It's not my problem anymore. The new cat slinks off towards the forest area. Oh, don't worry about them. They're preoccupied elsewhere. So what do you say? Are you going to help us or not? Obviously going to help you. Suppose my fate is already sealed. I may as well do my best to help you sort this mess out. Spoken like a true champion. Well, let's hope this one's better than the last one. I thought the last one was pretty good, actually. Unfortunately, they didn't get very far with discovering an antidote or what happened to our friends. My catalog starts beeping. Oh, my alarm. I have to get to work. Go. And thanks from all of us. Okay, I've been at this about an hour and a half. I think it's going to be it for me for tonight. I might play more tomorrow. Definitely will tomorrow night. I'm not sure about during the day. Like, it's 1:35 a.m. for me right now. So I might play around the same time tomorrow night. During the day, I'll probably be... I know we're definitely going to do some party games, some Jackbox games, and I think possibly some Don't Starve Together. So thanks for the follow, and I try and stream something most every day. I've been having some technical issues the last few days, so I've not been great about that. But yeah, I'm usually around. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye.